The scream didn't sound human at first. It was sharp panicked, loud enough to slice through the soft music and polite laughter of the restaurant like glass breaking. He put something in your child's food. And before my brain could even process the words, my 8-year-old son slid off his chair, his small body hitting the marble floor with a sound I will never forget. Plates shattered. Someone gasped. Someone swore. And I dropped to my knees, shouting his name, already knowing that whatever life I thought I had under control was about to explode. A few minutes earlier, everything had looked perfect, you know what I mean? The kind of picture people envy from the outside. Successful businessman, nice suit. Elegant restaurant. A partner at my side, my kid across the table asking if dessert came with ice cream. The kind of moment you think means you finally made it. I was wrong. Dead wrong. My name is Daniel Ross, and for most of my adult life, people thought they had me figured out. Quiet guy, keeps his head down, works too much, easy to underestimate, especially after my wife died. One accident on a rainy highway took her from us when our son Leo was barely 3. After that, I became that widowed guy. The one people spoke to gently, carefully, like I might shatter if they used the wrong tone. I didn't shatter. I worked. I built a logistics company from nothing, slept in offices, ate terrible food, missed parties, missed vacations. And somehow it worked. Money came. Respect followed. But grief doesn't care about balance sheets. At home, it was just me and Leo, learning how to live around an absence that never really left. I tried to be everything. Father, mother, protector, provider. Maybe I overdid it. Maybe that's why people kept saying, he needs a woman in the house, like my son was a project missing a final piece. I didn't argue. I just smiled and kept going. Then Claire showed up. We met at a charity event I didn't want to attend. She was confident, charming, spoke like she belonged in every room she entered. She laughed at my dry jokes. She listened when I talked about Leo. She said all the right things. Kids are honest, she told me. I love that. I wanted to believe her. At first, she was patient. She didn't push her way into my son's life. She waited, watched, smiled. When she finally met Leo, she knelt to his level and said, "Your dad talks about you all the time." Leo smiled politely the way kids do when they're not sure yet. I took that as a good sign. I relaxed. That was my first mistake. Kids notice things adults excuse. Leo noticed how Claire's smile tightened when I hugged him too long, how her tone shifted when I canceled a date because of a school event, how she corrected him quickly but praised him rarely. Small things, easy to explain away, easy to ignore when you want something to work. One night, while I was tucking him in, Leo asked Dad, "Does Claire like me?" I laughed it off, told him adults just take time. But the question stuck with me. It should have screamed louder than it did. When I proposed to Claire, I thought I was doing the right thing. Stability, family, a future that looked normal again. Leo clapped when we told him. Later that night, I heard him crying softly in his room, hugging his pillow. I didn't connect the dots. I was too busy convincing myself this was progress. After the engagement, things shifted. Claire became more involved, more controlling, always framing it as what's best for us. She corrected Leo's manners constantly, watched him like he was competition. I noticed flashes of it, but I told myself I was being paranoid. Grief makes you cautious, right? Then I postponed the wedding, just a little. Leo needed time. Claire smiled and said she understood, but something behind her eyes hardened that night. I see it clearly now. Back then I didn't want to. The dinner was supposed to reset everything. Nice restaurant, calm environment. Just the 3 of us. Claire picked the place. Soft lights, piano music, expensive enough to feel special but not flashy. Leo squeezed my hand and said it smelled good inside. I remember that. God, I remember that. Our server that night was a young woman named Maya. Calm, attentive, the kind of person who actually looks at people instead of through them. She greeted us handed menus, and something in her expression changed when she glanced at Claire and then at Leo. I didn't notice it. She did. We ordered. Leo chose grilled chicken. Simple. Safe. I told Claire no phones tonight, just us. She smiled and placed hers face down. Everything looked normal. That's the terrifying part. It always does right up until it doesn't. When the food arrived, Maya lingered nearby. I was answering a quick message from work, nothing urgent. Out of the corner of her eye, Maya saw Claire reach into her bag, then hover her hand over Leo's plate. It was quick, subtle, easy to miss. Maya hesitated. Doubt crept in. Accusing a guest like that could cost her job. So she waited. Leo took a few bites. 30 seconds. Maybe less. He frowned. "Dad, my stomach hurts." Claire said lightly, "You probably ate too fast." Then Leo gagged. His body stiffened. He fell. Time did that thing where it stretches and snaps at the same time. I was on the floor, holding him, shouting his name, begging him to breathe. People backed away. Someone screamed. Claire stood frozen hands to her mouth, eyes wide, performing shock a second too late. And then Maya screamed. "He put something in your child's food." Her voice shook, but it didn't break. The room went silent. Every eye turned toward us. I looked up at Claire, disbelief crashing into terror. "Tell me she's lying," I said. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. That silence told me everything before the sirens even started. The hospital was chaos. Bright lights, machines, doctors speaking fast, words like reaction and toxicity. I held Leo's hand until they made me step back. My suit was stained with food and something else I didn't want to identify. I remember thinking, not like this, not after everything. Claire arrived later with police. She cried, denied everything, said Maya misunderstood, said she would never hurt my son. But when the security footage played grainy but clear enough, her hand, her bag, the plate, the story collapsed. "I didn't mean to kill him," she said quietly during questioning. And that sentence still haunts me, because it meant she meant to hurt him. Leo survived. Barely. The doctor told me a few more minutes and the outcome would have been very different. I sat by his bed all night listening to the machines replaying every warning I ignored. Every time my son tried to tell me something without the words. The case went public. Claire's lawyers painted her as lonely, neglected, pushed aside. Maya testified calmly, honestly. She admitted she doubted herself, admitted she was afraid, and then she said, "But a child was in danger." Silence would have been worse. That was it. That was the truth. No speeches, no drama. Claire was found guilty. People argued about it online. Some said she snapped. Some said I should have seen it coming. Maybe I should have. That part is mine to carry. What changed me wasn't the verdict. It was my son asking weeks later, "Dad, will you listen next time?" That broke me more than any courtroom ever could. I stepped back from work, put boundaries where there used to be excuses, got my son help, got myself help. I learned something the hard way. Love without listening is dangerous. Silence is not peace. And the quietest voice in the room is often the one telling the truth. Now, here's where I want to hear from you. Was Claire a monster or a product of jealousy we ignore too often? Was Maya reckless or brave? And how many warnings do we all brush aside because they're inconvenient? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue if you need to. Share if you've seen something like this before. And if you believe stories like this matter, subscribe. Because sometimes the only thing standing between a child and tragedy is one person who refuses to stay silent.